Tuesday was my first day exploring the seafront, and it was the day that I was to explore the north side. And my father dropped me off at St Mary Church, and I looked at the model village, which was very, very hot. There was it's built into the side of the cliff, and you walk down and you see different sort of models, and some of them are of real places, and some of them are sort of generic, and they have little sensors that pick you up as you walk past, and that sort of sets off a voiceover, so there might be music playing if you're passing a church or something like that. It is clever, but it's it was alright, but once you'd seen half of it, the novelty of seeing models sort of wore off a bit. There was stuff on the work they actually did to make the models and to clean them and stuff like that. They also had they had a fantastic terrace and little tea room on the top, right at the top as you go in. It was also a bit expensive as well. And I sat there for a while because they had a little falconry exhibition with owls and stuff on, which was lovely. And how did I get home from there? Well, hang on. After I'd come out of the model village, I walked through St Mary Church and found Atesia Gardens, which is just like a little sort of secret garden, really. And I sat there reading my book for a long time before I walked to Babbacombe, which was the next sort of village along, and there's a railway, but it's more like a cable car, really, that goes down the side of a very steep cliff, and at the bottom you've got Oddicombe, which is a little beach, and so I took the train down there, and then I walked along from Oddicombe to Babbacombe Bay, which is they're sort of beaches along the same bay, basically. And then I started walking on a coastal path which took me up the cliff. In theory I could have got round that cliff to Torquay on the other side, but I never got that far because I took a wrong turning and ended up scaling the side of a cliff, which I shouldn't really have been on, I don't think, surrounded by forest, bracken everywhere, sheer sides. So I gave up and I walked back down the cliff, through Babbacombe beach, across to Oddicombe, and then up the railway and home. And Tuesday night was the night of my parents cooking, and we had salmon, which was absolutely fantastic inside. Wednesday I went with my parents, who were taking my nan around, because she was visiting some of the sites of her honeymoon, and one such site was Holme, which is this little village where one of her sisters lived that she wanted to visit. It's not a very big place, and it's not terribly easy to find, because the roads around here are they're all one track, tiny, and the hedges are so high it's like travelling down tunnels. It's really weird, and they go on and on forever. Blind bends, blind summits, all sorts. We got there eventually, and we had lunch in a beautiful tea room there, and then because we were in the area of Dartmoor, we went to Buckfast Abbey, which is a working Benedictine monastery. Weird because it's hard to describe. It's built on the site of a monastery that was destroyed during the dissolution, and it's been built with a really new stone, so it looks a bit sort of bright. Really, it doesn't look like it had much wear on it. And we looked all the way around there, which was nice, and they had gift shops, obviously, and cafeteria there, and lavender gardens, and a whole host more. So that was nice. And then, I can't for the life of me remember what we had for Wednesday tea. I have no idea. I can't remember it. Thursday was my main day doing the beach, and I started by going to the Sloop, which is one of the pubs I mentioned earlier, and having breakfast there, and then catching the bus all the way to Brixham. The weather was supposed to be quite bad, and it did rain on the way. The thing here is that because we're on the coast, the showers tend to pass across quite quickly with the wind. So we went all the way along the route I mentioned earlier, and I got off at Brixham and walked down the peninsula as far as just short of Berry Head, which is a sort of 45-minute across nature reserve on that peninsula there. I saw Shoalstone Beach, which had a pool, an outdoor swimming pool on the beach. I saw the breakwater, which shelters the Brixham Harbour. I obviously saw the harbour and the marina. There wasn't much to do around there because the attractions there were aimed at young children, really. Walked through their fish market, and then up the side of a cliff to a battery station which had been abandoned after the Second World War. That was interesting, and the cove and beach that was connected to it. And then there was another cove around the other side, which was not so nice, and by that point in time I was in Marriage Forest, which went on forever. And I sort of got lost there because I went down to the beach and then came back up the same way I went down, and realised that I should have gone up the other side of the cliff from the beach, so I had to go down again. Thankfully I was under cover for most of the time that it rained, and because the canopy there is so thick, I didn't really get that wet. Anyway, so I walked all the way around there, and after several coves got to Broad Sands, which is nice, and then after that you're walking on the path up the cliff very close to the steam railway and the viaduct there, which was interesting to see the steam train go across. Again, some of this walk was very very well used, and some of it was sheer cliffs, with sort of almost broken steps. It was a bit weird. In all, I probably walked about 10 miles before finally ending up at Goodrington, which I like, and I had tea there in one of their brewers' fair, which used to be an old naval hospital during the Napoleonic War, in fact. And my father picked me up from there. And then today, was the day that we decided to have a family cooked breakfast after a lie-in, which was nice. And then, my sisters, I hasten to add that my sister Rosie and her husband Tom had went to Wimbledon for one of the days, which was interesting for them, and they said that it was very nice there as well, and they left a little early because they had a function to attend in York, but apart from that, we were a family all together down here. So I got the bus after our cooked breakfast, and got off at Torquay, looked around there, and did the Ferris wheel, and then I booked to go on the steam train and got the bus round to Paignton, where the steam train leaves from. Walked along the beach there for a little bit to begin with, had lunch, and then I got on the steam train, and the steam train went 6 miles to Dartmouth and back. Half an hour stop off at Dartmouth, so not really enough to get out and do anything, but I don't mind. And then I visited Paignton Pier one last time before coming back here, and we had a family meal out to close the holiday. Tomorrow's Saturday, and we have to be out of here by 10, so we have to head home pretty quickly. As I said, Rosie and Tom have already gone. My parents are taking my nan on to see other members of the family that weren't here, and I am going back with Tiffany to see if there's anything left of my Avery, which I left in much the same way as I did for my trip to Rome, my Romani Eterna tour. So hopefully, I shall return to find that they've had as good a week as me.